we don't realize how challenged and triggered that all the different behaviors and situations may make us feel. We don't realize that we have baggage that we carry from our upbringing, and maybe even from our grandparents and generations before us, right, who suffered, right? We know that is passed down genetically now. We don't factor in the reactivity factor at all. We just think, okay, I'm myself now, I'll be myself in that moment, and I'll be able to choose how I want to respond. And it's completely erroneous, because we get into those moments, this little being is throwing their third temper tantrum of the day, they're freaking out, you have to get somewhere, you're tired, you haven't eaten enough. Like, there just are so many factors that are happening, also these inner factors, and then you don't have the resources. Your stress response is activating. You don't have the resources to use your whole brain, because we know, and this is just, we know this, but it just bears repeating, that we know when our stress response is activated, fight, flight, or freeze, it gets activated by the amygdala in the emotional center of the brain and the brainstem. It cuts off access to the slower parts of the brain. It cuts off access to the prefrontal cortex, the seat of verbal ability, impulse control, problem solving, creativity, verbal ability, right? These are the things that we're wanting to use to respond, like this wonderful parenting coach said we wanted to respond, and it's gone. You just don't have access to it. Your brain is hijacked when you're in that stress response. And so you're in this impaired place. We have to factor that in, that we are humans, and this nervous system response is like the number one system that is developed in your body when you're born. And as we know from our babies, right, is the number one system. And it's what keeps us alive. It's great. It's what helps that parental arm slide out if you have a kid in the front seat and you have to stop short. It's wonderful. But we have to factor in our nervous system when we think about how we're going to respond in the tough moments. And so if we can plan for that, if we can prepare for that, if we can resource ourselves for that, then we'll really be able to model for our kids. I mean, we all know now that emotional health, right? Like your kids being able to respond effectively to your child, being able to support them emotionally and to be able to accept all their different emotions. We know that teaching this emotional intelligence is great. We really want to do it for our kids, and we really have to do it for ourselves in order to be able to do it for our kids, because we can't just like do it for them and not do it for us. It has to come from within.